In this video, we are going to talk about the equals sign in MATLAB and how we use a single equal sign and what it means and what it does not mean. And then we'll look at a couple examples in MATLAB. An equals sign in MATLAB will execute whatever is on the right-hand side of the equal sign. So if there is a function on the right-hand side of an equal sign, it will execute that function. If there's a calculation on the right-hand side of the equal sign, it will execute that equation and solve for whatever is on the right-hand side. And then store that. So store that, whether it's an array or value, in whatever is on the left-hand side of the equal sign. So it'll do whatever is on the right-hand side. It will take that and put that in whatever is on the left-hand side. So A equals B in MATLAB means store the current value of B in A. And in this case, B could be just some value. B could be some calculation. B could be an array. But it means store whatever is in B in A. It also means another way to say that is to assign the current value of B, so assign whatever B is to the variable A. One more thing it could mean is put the current value of B in A. So as we go on in this class, you may hear me say things like put this in this. So it means put right-hand side of equal sign into left-hand side of equal sign. A equals B does not mean the following. It does not mean that A is B. It may mean that for the second that that line of code runs, but then we'll see that it's not a universal truth that A is B. So in math, an equal sign means that the left-hand side is the right-hand side. Like it's a universal truth that we know. That is not what it means in coding. It does not mean that A and B are mathematically equal. Okay, so that's what I just kind of tried to emphasize. It does not mean store A in B. Remember, it means store B in A. This is a very, very common mistake for first-time programmers, where we think that we can put where programmers mix up what goes on the right-hand side and what goes on the left-hand side. So this does not mean store A and B. If we wanted to store A and B, we would have to write B equals A. And it does not mean assign the value of A to B. Once again, to do that, we would have to write B equals A. To kind of drive that point home, A equals B is not the same as B equals A, which I realize up until this point, every math class we've taken has told us that these two things are the same thing. So I understand why this is a difficult concept to grasp at first and why people make this mistake and we put the wrong thing on the wrong side of the equal sign. But just be sure to remember that in coding, these two things do not mean the same thing. Lastly, A equals B does not mean that A and B are equal. For example, and we're going to work through an example like this in MATLAB right after this. So if you use the line of code A equals B to store the value of B in the variable A, and then you later change the value of B, the value of A will not update unless you re-execute that A equals B again. So if you say that B is 4, and then you say A equals B. So now B is 4. We've taken that 4. We've also sorted an A. So A and B are both 4 now. And then you say B equals 3. A is still 4. and B is now 3. So they do not update with each other. In our code, we read it from top to bottom. So let's look at some examples in MATLAB. I am going to start by creating an array A using my square brackets. I'm going to create this array. Let me type this again. And to type something again that I've already typed into the command window, remember you can press the up arrow. And I'm just going to remove that semicolon so that it will actually print the value of A in my screen. So this is what A is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 different rows. So we are going to start by multiplying A by 2 and storing the result in variable B. So I want to multiply A by 2, so 2 times A, or A times 2, and then store the result of 2 times A in variable B. So that means B equals 2 times A. So now we see that we have multiplied every value in A times 2, and now we have this result, B. Next, I am going to store A12 in B24. So that means that B24 is where I'm going to put the value of A12. So this says take the value that is in the first row, second column of A, and put that value in the second column, or second row, fourth column of B. So it would be helpful to look at what A was. So I said first row, second column. So first row, second column, 2. And we put that 2 into the second row, fourth column. So we have that 2 there. If we wanted to store the B13 value in A22, so this means store whatever's in the first row, third column, so 6, in the location A22. We would say A22 is equal to B13. So that will put whatever's in B13, 6, into this location, A22. So we see, oh, it was already 6. Oh, I should have looked at my matrices better. It was already 6 and we put a 6 there. Let's change this up. Let's instead store this in A21, just so we can see, visualize what's happening here. Oh, and I need to actually update the line. A21. There we go. So we've done a few alterations to A and B. So we've changed one value in A, we've changed one value in B. And remember, previously we have said that A equals 2B. But remember, that does not mean that A is always going to be 2 times B. Or that B is, oh my goodness. Sorry. It does not mean that B is always going to be 2 times A. And we can check that. Let's look at A. Let's look at B. B is very clearly not 2 times A because we've changed values within B. If we wanted B to be 2 times A again, we would have to re-execute the line B equals 2 times A. So just trying to drive that point home that just because we executed this line of code, it doesn't mean that this will always be true as we execute more lines of code after it to change things up. I hope that this has helped emphasize kind of how we use equal sign, what an equal sign actually means in MATLAB. Like I said, it's very common for first-time programmers to put things on the wrong side of the equal sign, and that's something that you're probably going to make a mistake in this class. So hopefully when you do make that mistake, you'll think back to this video and read your line of code and realize that you've put the wrong thing on the wrong side of the equal sign.